The reason you keep spiraling is not because the 3D is testing you. It is because you keep treating the reflection as if it has authority over the one being reflected. You check the phone, and silence tells you who you are. You check the bank account, and a number tells you what is possible. You check their behavior, and a delay tells you whether you are chosen. You check the mirror, the message, the circumstance, the movement, the sign, and every time the outer world looks the same, you hand it the power to name you again. That is the mistake. The 3D is not standing in front of you like a judge deciding whether your assumption is good enough. It is not testing your worth. It is not asking if you really believe. It is not trying to punish you for one bad thought or one moment of fear. The 3D is doing something much colder, much simpler, and much more important. It is reflecting the state you have been loyal to long enough for it to become visible. And if you misunderstand that, you will spend your whole life arguing with reflections. You will affirm, then check. Visualize, then check. Say it is done, then check. Feel powerful for 10 minutes, then look outside and ask the old world if it agrees. And the moment the old world shows you the old image, you collapse back into the old self. Then you call that a test. But it was not a test. It was a mirror. This video is for the person who keeps looking at the 3D to find out if the inner work is working. The person who says that they are living in the end, but still scans the world every hour for proof. The person who knows the phrases, knows the law, knows what Neville said, but still gets pulled out of the state by one notification that does not come, one result that delays, one person who acts the same, one number that looks unchanged. By the end of this video, you will understand why checking is the hidden habit that keeps the old assumption alive, why the 3D is never the source, but always the echo, and exactly how to stop using the mirror as a master. Not by denying reality, not by pretending the old picture is not there, but by finally understanding what it is, a delayed image of a state you no longer have to worship. Because here is the truth almost nobody wants to sit with. The 3D does not create your identity. It exposes the identity you keep returning to. That is why two people can look at the same delay and become two completely different selves. One sees delay and says, "Nothing ever works for me." The other sees delay and says, "The old image is still fading." One sees silence and becomes abandoned. The other sees silence and remains chosen. One sees a lack of money and becomes doomed. The other sees it and remains the one who is moving into increase. Same circumstance, different state, different future. Most people think manifestation fails in the technique. It often fails in the moment after the technique. You close your eyes and imagine the end. For a few minutes you feel it. You touch the state. You become still. Then you open your eyes, return to the room, look at the same phone, the same wall, the same bank account, the same physical evidence, and ask, but did anything change? That question is the doorway back to the old state. Because the question is not innocent, it carries an assumption. It says the inner act is not real, unless the outer world has already confirmed it. It says the unseen has no authority until the seen agrees. It says your imagination may have power, but only if the mirror immediately smiles back. And that is why the thumbnail says, stop checking. Not because you should become passive, not because you should ignore your life, not because you should live in fantasy. Stop checking, because the version of you who keeps checking is usually not the version who has accepted. Checking is not observation when it is done from panic. It is worship. You are kneeling before the old picture, asking it to tell you who you are. Neville's entire teaching cuts through that. The world is not the cause. Consciousness is the cause. The visible world is the arrangement, the echo, the image cast outward. So when you stare at the 3D and say, but this is what is real, you are not being realistic. You are being hypnotized by a reflection that is already behind the state you are now choosing. Think of a mirror. If you stand in front of a mirror wearing a torn coat, the mirror shows the torn coat. If you take the coat off, the mirror may not be the cause of the change, but it will eventually show what stands before it. The mistake would be screaming at the mirror for wearing the old coat. The mistake would be trying to paint the reflection while refusing to change what is being reflected. That is what checking does. It keeps trying to fix the mirror. You do not become the person who has it by forcing the mirror to prove it. You become the person who has it by changing the inner position from which the mirror must eventually respond. The 3D is not your enemy. It is also not your leader. It is a report, and many reports arrive late. That one sentence can free you, if you let it. Many reports arrive late. The message you are waiting for, the money you are tracking, the opportunity you are expecting, the body you are looking at, the relationship dynamic you are watching, the old patterns still appearing in the world. These are often reports from a state you have practiced for months or years. They are not always fresh commands. They are sometimes old echoes. But when you react to the echo as if it is a new command, you keep renewing the same state. That is the loop. An old assumption becomes visible. You react to it. The reaction proves you still identify with it. That identity creates more of the same. Then you say the 3D is testing you. But the 3D was not testing you. It revealed where you were still available to the old self. The goal is not to hate the 3D. The goal is to stop letting it reassign your identity. So the next time the outer world shows you something you do not want, do not ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, what state is this trying to pull me back into? That question changes everything. Because the danger is rarely the event itself. The danger is the identity you accept because of the event. Silence is not the danger. Becoming unwanted is the danger. Delay is not the danger. Becoming forgotten is the danger. A low number is not the danger. Becoming trapped is the danger. A closed door is not the danger. Becoming the person who says, see, this always happens to me, is the danger. The 3D does not defeat you by existing. It defeats you when you let it make you return to the old conclusion, and that is why most people cannot hold an assumption. Not because they are weak, but because they are addicted to confirmation. They want the state, but they also want the old world to certify it first. They want to live in the end, but only after the middle becomes comfortable. They want to be chosen, but only after the person behaves perfectly. They want to feel wealthy, but only after the number changes. They want to feel secure, but only after every circumstance becomes safe. That is not assumption. That is negotiation. Living in the end means you stop negotiating your identity with temporary evidence. Now listen carefully. This does not mean you pretend bills do not exist, or ignore responsibilities, or act recklessly. That is not spiritual power. That is avoidance. The difference is this: you can handle the 3D without becoming the 3D. You can pay the bill without becoming scarcity. You can answer the message without becoming desperation. You can make the call without becoming panic. You can take action in the world while remaining loyal to the inner fact. That is mastery. The old self uses action to escape fear. The new self uses action as expression. The old self checks to be reassured. The new self observes without surrendering identity. The old self reacts to prove the past is still true. The new self sees the old picture and lets it pass like weather. This is where the method becomes very simple. For the next 24 hours, stop asking the 3D whether you are allowed to believe. That is the first correction. Not forever, just 24 hours. If you are not ready to stop checking forever, do not pretend. Start with one clean day. No emotional checking, no refreshing for proof, no scanning their page to see if your assumption is working. No asking the mirror if you are the new self yet. You can live your life, you can handle what must be handled. But you do not approach the outer world as a court where your identity is on trial. When the urge to check appears, do not fight it, label it. This is the old self asking the mirror for permission. That one line interrupts the spell. It reminds you that the urge is not truth. It is habit. It is the old identity trying to feed itself with evidence. And once you see it, you are no longer inside it in the same way. Then return to the end. Not with force. With ownership. Ask, if this were already settled, who would I be right now? Not later, not when the 3D behaves. Right now. How would I breathe? What would I stop monitoring? What would I no longer need to prove? What would I assume about myself before anything moves? The answer is your state. Do not turn this into another complicated ritual. The point is not to add more noise. The point is to remove the throne from the reflection. If the 3D shows you silence, you return to chosen. If it shows you delay, you return to certain. If it shows you lack, you return to increase. If it shows you the old pattern, you return to the end. Not because the old picture is fake, but because it is not final. This is where I want to give you the first doorway below the video. If this is already describing you, if you realize your problem has not been a lack of information, but the habit of checking the mirror for permission, then the free 3-day How to Get Anything You Want challenge is linked in the description and pinned comment. Do not use it as another method to collect. Use it as the correction. It goes deeper into how to recognize the wrong inner state, step out of it, and begin assuming from the identity that matches the life you are asking for. Finish this video, then open it. Because if you keep checking from the old state, every method will feel like another way to wait. Now let us go deeper, because this is the part that makes people uncomfortable. Sometimes the 3D feels like a test because it touches the exact wound your assumption is trying to heal. If your wound is abandonment, silence feels like evidence. If your wound is scarcity, a bill feels like prophecy. If your wound is invisibility, being ignored feels like identity. If your wound is failure, delay feels like confirmation. The outer event may be small, but the state it awakens is ancient. That is why your reaction can feel so intense. You are not only reacting to what happened, you are reacting to the meaning you assigned to what happened years ago. The 3D presses on the wound, and the old self rushes forward to explain the pain. It says, this means you are not chosen. This means nothing changes. This means you are behind. This means you are powerless. But now you know better. The 3D did not reveal the truth. It revealed the wound, and a wound is not an identity unless you keep answering to it. So when the outer world presses the old wound, pause before you give it meaning. That pause is sacred. That pause is the space where the new self can be chosen. Before the old story rushes in, before the panic makes a conclusion, before the body convinces you that fear is wisdom, pause and say, this is only a reflection. It does not name me. I name myself from the end. That is not a line to repeat mindlessly. It is an act of government. You are governing your inner world, and every time you do this, the old state loses food. It may not vanish in one day. It may rise again. It may shout louder at first. That does not mean you failed. It often means the old identity is losing its automatic right to possess you. People think peace comes when the 3D changes. But often, the 3D changes after peace stops being conditional. The person who no longer needs the mirror to approve them becomes strangely powerful, because their attention is no longer enslaved. They are not leaking life into every sign, every delay, every movement, every absence. They have taken back the only place where the law can be practiced, within. This is the real meaning of stop checking. Stop checking does not mean stop caring. It means stop begging evidence to become your God. Stop giving the old picture the final word. Stop acting as if one unchanged circumstance has more authority than the state you are deliberately assuming. Stop visiting the end for 5 minutes, and then spending the rest of the day loyal to the beginning. If the 3D is reflecting you, then the most important question is not, what is it showing? The question is, who am I being while I look at it? Read that again inside yourself. Who am I being while I look at it? Because you can look at the same old circumstance as two different people. The old self looks and says, this proves it. The new self looks and says, this is passing. The old self looks and begs for rescue. The new self looks and remains established. The old self says, why is it not here? The new self says, I know where I live. This is not emotional suppression. If fear comes, let it move. If sadness comes, feel it honestly. But do not let emotion rewrite the assumption. Feeling a wave is not the same as moving back into the old house. You can feel the wave and remain the one who has chosen the end. You can breathe through fear without giving fear the pen. Most people give fear the pen. They feel one emotion and immediately write a whole future from it. They feel anxious and decide it is not working. They feel rejected and decide they are not chosen. They feel uncertain and decide the desire is impossible. But emotion is weather. State is home. Do not build a house out of passing weather. Now, here is a practical way to use the 3D correctly. Instead of using it as proof against you, use it as a map of what is still asking for revision. Not revision of the world first, revision of identity. If a situation makes you feel unwanted, that is where the state of being chosen be occupied. If a number makes you feel unsafe, that is where the state of being supported must become natural. If a delay makes you feel powerless, that is where the state of certainty must be practiced. The 3D is not saying you failed. It is saying, here is where the old self still has a hook. That is useful. That is not punishment. That is information. But information only helps if you do not turn it into a verdict. So tonight, do this. Choose the one area where you check the most. Your phone, money, appearance, their behavior, your progress, your sign. Whatever you keep scanning because you are secretly asking, am I safe yet? That is the mirror you have given too much authority. Write one sentence. I no longer ask this mirror who I am. Then write the identity you are choosing. I am the one who is chosen. I am the one who is supported. I am the one who is wanted. I am the one who moves from certainty. I am the one whose life is reorganizing from the end. Keep it simple. Do not write a page to impress yourself. Write a command your inner world can understand. Before sleep, imagine a small scene that implies you are no longer checking because the desire is normal. not a dramatic scene, a normal one. You put the phone down because you are secure. You walk past the mirror without searching for a flaw. You pay something calmly. You receive something naturally. You are not celebrating like someone shocked. You are settled like someone who lives there. Then sleep from that state. Tomorrow, when the urge to check appears, do not make it a crisis. Smile at it if you can. Say, old mirror, old habit. Then, return. This is how the old state dies, not by war, by neglect. It dies because you stop feeding it your immediate belief. And if you do check, do not spiral. That would only create another mirror. Notice it. Return. The power is in return. The old self wants one slip to become a whole identity. Do not let it. You are not trying to perform perfection. You are practicing occupancy. The second doorway is here because this part matters. If you want the deeper structure, the free 3-day challenge below is the next step. It is called How to Get Anything You Want, but the point is not chasing. The point is becoming the one to whom the desire is natural. The link is below in the description and pinned comment. Use this video as the warning. Use the challenge as the correction. Because the 3D cannot be your master once you understand how to stop asking it for permission. Now let me leave you with the final distinction. A test says, prove yourself. A reflection says, look at what you are still being. The 3D is not saying, you are not good enough. It is saying, this is the state that has been most familiar. The 3D is not saying your desire is impossible. It is saying this is the old image still on the screen. The 3D is not saying, go back. It is showing you where you are tempted to go back. That temptation is the real moment of power. When nothing has changed outside and you remain changed inside, something has happened. When the old picture appears and you do not bow, something has shifted. When silence comes and you do not become abandoned. When delay comes and you do not become forgotten. When lack appears and you do not become trapped, the mirror has lost its throne. That is the beginning of dominion, not control over people, not force over life. Dominion over the self you choose to be in the presence of appearances. That is where reality begins to reorganize, because you are no longer supplying the old world with the same old person, so stop calling it a test. Stop making the mirror your enemy. Stop checking as if the reflection decides who you are. The 3D is reflecting, that is all. Let the old reflection pass. Stand as the new cause. Return to the end, not when the world makes it easy, but precisely when the world still looks old. And if this exposed the habit you have been living inside, type, I stopped checking in the comments. Not as a slogan, as a mark. A line between the old relationship with reality and the new one. The free challenge is linked below. Take it after this video if you are ready to stop collecting signs and start becoming the sign. And subscribe if this changed the way you see the 3D, because the modern world keeps teaching fragments. This channel goes back to the source, found by few, changed by all. Tonight, do not ask the mirror if you are new, be new, and let the mirror catch up.